Hi, it's Kathleen from Bailey Academy, mom of 5, homeschooling 2 of them, ages 12 and 15. So I'm preparing for next school year, as in 2026, 2027, which still sounds really ridiculous that that's even coming up. And part of what we're using is some Guest Hollow products. So we have Junior Anatomy for my daughter and World Geography and Cultures High School edition, for which we're using for both, even though my daughter's not in high school. And so I wanted to show how I'm going about planning, taking, if you're not familiar, Guest Hall is like a smorgasbord, or a, for the other word is that the people use, and you pick and choose what you want out of it, which books you want to use, which videos you want to use, and so on. And so they just like, they're saving you time on like finding all the things. So for somebody like me who makes their own curriculum a lot of time, it's like, I don't like a open and go, this is what you read, this is what you say. That's not for me. But I like this because it's more like, here's some resources I already found for you that fit, and then this is the timeline. You do this week, etc., this topic this week, but you can decide what you want to do. So I'm going to show you how I am planning it. They give you, I'm going to turn you around in a bit, but they give you a schedule, Word document, so you can edit it right in there. Take out the things you're not using, add in any extras you might want to add. But I don't like, I mean, I love using the computer, don't get me wrong, but some things I just want to do on paper. Sorry, I got the hiccups or something. And then they give you PDF if you just want to print what it is, edit it, or sometimes there's an online schedule that you can see with clickable links, although they don't guarantee that will be there forever, and you only have limited access to that. So what I did, and again, I'll show you a better, if I can figure out how to get the camera to turn around, because I have a new camera, or a new tripod. I just took a random notebook, spiral notebook, and I printed the things out and glued them in a smaller size. So here's my cover page. And then I was able to make notes, scratch things out, highlight things, and add things that I might have on my own right in there. And so, like, I'm going to show you, but like, for example, randomly week 3, there's the schedule, and I have highlighted what I want to do. I'll show exactly what the highlights mean, and I added in like, oh, let's do this, or do it this way, or whatever. And so I did that for that one, and Junior Anatomy. I didn't print out the Junior Anatomy cover because it's very black on the background, and I didn't want to waste ink. So I used anatomy stickers that I have and made a little quick cover. So I'll turn you around and I will show you that. But I just want to mention also that this is a very book heavy curriculum, but there's so many books that you don't have to choose all of them, and they give you a book list, which I'll also show you, that tells you, like, it gives them numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 to show you like how much they like. Books are ones they really recommend that you don't skip, although I'll show you that you still can. And number 4 books are like, it's added, but it's not a big deal if you didn't skip it, and somewhere I think in between. But I was able to acquire almost all the books for free. Not physically, but online. I found most of them online, or YouTube read alouds, or all kinds of things. So if you want to do this curriculum, but you have a very, very low budget like me, then it is not impossible. All right, let me turn you around. Okay, so turning you around didn't work, so I will hold it up. All right, so let me just so first of all, like I said, I took a notebook. I ended up adding tabs, although you can see my words are fading, so I have to fix that. So, by the way, if you don't know how to print, most print, like Adobe or other things that you print from, there you can put a percentage. So instead of like fit to size or full size, there's a scale, and you just turn it. And I printed at 80% scale for the regular size notebook. So first I printed off, I didn't print out everything that they have. I printed off a little bit of explanation. And then we start with the book list. So this is what the book list looks like. Under each book, it tells you, where is it? That's it. Sorry, look at this book here. Okay, this book here is really hard for me to show you. Okay, it is ranked number 1 right here. So they recommend it, even though we are not getting it. As I mark down, it's expensive. And then they have like, you can buy, we're going to borrow, is an ebook, audiobook, Hoopla, Open Library, Everand, other. And I found it on Archives, but I put here, it's meh. I didn't really even love it, so we're not going to use it. So I highlighted the books that we are going to use and then marked where I'm finding it or if I already have it. So let me show you a better example. Over here, it's hard because I'm looking at it backwards here. So this book here, Hungry Planet, What the World Eats, I do want to use it, but I haven't been able to find it yet, so I'm hoping to be able to buy it. But if not, we can omit it. And then here, for the religions book, I found it online, so I put have. So it's highlighted if we want to use it, and I wrote have if we already have it. Or, you know, some of them are written down as library. So I guess mine's a little messy, but you know. This one here, for here, I've written it's at the library, but I also have an ebook copy of it. So if I want a physical copy, I can look at the library. So I went through all those, and then if I couldn't find anything, so for example, they had these books written for options for learning about South America, and my library and online doesn't have any of those. So I wrote a different South America book from the library. So I went through all those, figured out what books, and then there's like full-length, like streaming type videos and movies that I put there, and I just checkmarked them if we might be, if I looked at the content and it seems okay for us and my age group, and then mark down like what streaming is it on or whatever, and is it one that we have for free. And then later on, sometimes I decided not to even use them, but at least I know what's like. I don't have to waste my time when I go in later. I can flip back and be like, oh, this one, oh no, we have no way of getting that one, or no, I don't like it at the content. Out of breath, sorry. After that is the supplies section. We'll come back to this later. But it is, like say week 1, it'll say, these are that. This doesn't include regular things like scissors, crayons, glue, water, paper. But if you need something specific, a certain kind of paper or whatever, actually I think it does include paper. It says it there. And by what week. That's the second section. The third section is the biggest section. That's the schedule. And as you can see at the top, I put blue is for my son, pink is for my daughter, and the yellowy one is for both. Most of the stuff we're doing together, but there's some things, because he's in high school, he's doing more of it, and the more like, you know, high schooly type ones he's going to do. And then there's a couple things that my daughter's going to do on her own. That's like making recipes. He really does not like recipes. And we've done it enough that I'm not worried about like forcing him to do it. So that's how we're going to do that. So for example, let me just say what I want to say and then I'll show you up close. On week 1, you know what? I think I have a better idea. 1 second. Okay. As long as I don't drop the phone onto the book, this works. So as you can see, we have week 1. You're going to use the textbook. And it says here 5 days a week. We don't do it 5 days a week, but I'll explain that in a minute. So it's like, okay, you're going to read 101. So we're going to read the textbook. So I highlighted that. This book here, okay, this is actually supposed to be the same color. I just ran out of highlighter. I went back to fix it. So this is supposed to be the same color. So this book, these chapters. We don't have these books. If I end up finding a way to get those books, I will then highlight those in. The religions book. And then we are not doing any fiction, literature, and explain that. After Cetera Games, the printables we're not using. The video, I like this video. I can like pre-watch not all the video, but enough to understand what it is. Workbook, which it comes with. We'll do the workbook every day. This is just information for the workbook, so I don't need that right now. And then activities. Okay, so we're only going to do the recipe. So I highlighted that. And then under videos, again, I like highlighted the ones that I liked. Now, if there's something we want to learn about, say we wanted to learn more about the seasons, but I just didn't like this video, we just didn't do this because we've already done that, then I might find my own video for it. But for the most part, a lot of these are well made. And okay, so here's an example. I'm skipping a page here, but here's an example of just my son. So on the online text, the global economics is a more complicated section, and I'm not worried about my daughter who's in middle school worrying about that, so I had him just reading that. But the rest of it we're all doing together, except for this video. Again, it's more complicated, so I'm letting him do it. Because he's supposed to do more because it's supposed to be a credit for him. Same with over here. There's some videos that he's going to watch and some videos we're all going to watch. And then I put the 2 skin color ones that the second one is better if it's working. And that's because I was having trouble with it. And then this is maybe, so this is like, some of these were cool, but I had trouble. I put check on computer because when I was doing all this on my phone, ignore that sound, that's my dog. All this stuff on the phone and some of the things didn't work and I had to go on. And then here's an example of me adding my own stuff. So I have a snowmobile book, the history of the snowmobile. And this is the Arctic section, so I'm going to put it there. Okay, and then, so this is just an example. Like, I just did this over and over and over again. It took me a little while. This is a lot of work, so this is not something you're going to want to do if you like open and go. But if you like to make your own, this is still, even though it's a lot of work, saving me time. I made some notes. So how to use a compass. I know how to use a compass, so I'm going to teach them myself that. And before Aria makes a map. Oh, before she makes the map here, how to read the map. So that gives you an idea of what I'm showing you. Another example, this is a whole bunch of pages of this. Here's an example of a recipe. My daughter's going to make these recipes. My son's not. For each music section, I just put a question mark. We're going to listen to as much music, world music as we can. But I just didn't want to be like, this is the one we're going to listen to. And I'll find it out that day. So I have all that. It's like quite a few. That one is more upsetting video. So we're going to discuss me and my son just alone after we watch that video. See, that's the one color I was using, and then I ran out. I killed the whole 2 whole highlighters doing this. So keep that in mind. Brief history of cannibalism, not for my daughter, just for my son. Oh, and the Geography Now videos. These we're familiar with before we even found Guest Hollow. We did them a couple of years ago, but we didn't do all of them. They've forgotten most of what they saw. And we definitely didn't do all the countries that are in this. So we're definitely going to do all of those. Now, I was realizing that, as I said, this is a 5-day-a-week schedule, and we don't do school 5 days a week. We do regular school 3 days a week and extra enrichment on the 4th day. So I haven't decided yet if we're going to try to cram all this into 3 days, if we're going to be like day 1, day 2, day 3, next week, day 1, day 2, day 3, etc. I'm open to suggestions, but I haven't decided what work for us yet. So I have to figure that out. I figured also I might like kind of figure out how long is it going to take me, like if this was the first week or whatever. How long would it take us to read this? Read it and write down how long it took. Read this, how long does it take? 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 And kind of figure out like how long are the videos, how long are everything that's going to be the workbook, everything, kind of figure out 1 week and kind of figure out how many minutes to hours is this going to take, and then do I think I could fit it into 3 weeks. Now let me show you the junior anatomy book. 1 second. Just gonna flip this closed. Move this over here. And here's my junior anatomy book. So I did the same thing with this, although this is only for my daughter. So I didn't put the tabs over here yet, but this is the book list. Same thing. I have like, okay, I'm gonna use this instead. Need to buy, hard to find. I already bought it. I'm waiting for it to deliver. Library. Couldn't find that book, but I found something else in my library that seems good. The circulatory story I found as a YouTube read aloud. So, that one I couldn't find the illusion book, so I might use a different illusion book, but I don't know if I decided to or not. Library. So this one's going to be a lot of library books. And there's a few other spots that I just want to check or use a different book. So there's that. Same thing, the supply list, but I only need certain ones depending on which ones I'm doing. And then same idea. I printed these ones out a little small, but so if I'm going to do, I don't have this book, but they recommend this as a free online thing. So we're going to do that book, that book. Originally, I didn't have that book, but I decided I've looked into it more and I want to do it. And so I'm going to be doing that book. This book we ended up buying for $3, so I added it in. This is the one that's coming soon. The videos, this one only if needed. If it covers, all the books cover the cells well enough, then we don't need to watch a video. And then the Human Anatomy coloring book, I'm using a different one. We're going to be just doing more labeling than coloring, but I still put it there just so I don't forget to use it. And I put adapt so I can make sure that I adapt it, which I did do, but I forgot to do this week. And then printables we're going to use, and there's the free Cells Are Us book. And then week 2, I have a genetics book that I'm going to include with this book as well. And there's the free book, videos if needed. And, read this one just says like read this week. So again, 5 days a week, don't know yet if, sorry, my fingers are getting in the way, if it's going to be the same way or not, or how we're going to do it. And there's something that you can see, this is clearly a lot of stuff, and for just science, I could see it being a problem, and so I have an idea of how I'm going to make this and the other guest hollow when we just showed you work. Okay, here's an example. So the Human Anatomy coloring book that they recommend, they're like, okay, page 2, this one, page 3, page 4. But these are the pages in the book I have that are going to be labeling. And I don't know if I have that with me right now, but so I just made notes on anything that was different. That's all I did was just highlight what I need, what I'm not going to need, so that I can do it that way. This is my planning. So let me just turn back around to me. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to mention, or not I don't know if it's the last thing, but whatever. Something else I wanted to mention is, like I said, I have a lot of guest hollow things that I want to do, and I don't want to do less guest hollow just because I'm trying to fit in, something else. So I've already decided that we're doing a more minimalist year. I'm not going to worry about art or music because there's art and music in our guest hollow. So, and I have the art book that I got from the thrift store that I mentioned in my last video as well, if needed. But I was rethinking our ELA. Why am I... well, I have to backtrack. Okay, so for ELA, what we're doing is we're going to be... I just needed like a book. Not this isn't even a kid's book, but whatever book we're going to be reading, we were going to be doing, we did at the end of this year, was vocabulary from the chapter that we read. We write it down in a notebook. I usually explain it as we are reading it, but then so we'll be like, okay, this psychoanalyst means this. Just a book. And then we would write it down. And then at the end of reading the chapter, which, I mean, I read to her because, but she helps me read sometimes. But anyways, grammar. So I have a grammar lesson. Sometimes ChatGPT helps me figure that out. But, and I'd be like, okay, so like, for example, in this book, Brooklyn is a place, so it's capitalized. So show me like what other ones should be capitalized or whatever. Grammar lesson, a writing lesson, a prompt based on the chapter that we read. We do all the ELA based on this book that we're reading. And I realized, why am I shoving in random fiction when none of us seem to like fiction much to do this ELA when I could be doing ELA based off of Guest Hollow? We're already going to be reading lots of books and watching lots of videos and doing lots of things. So why not have ELA based on those books? So say we read a book, Junior Anatomy, about the heart that day. When she does her ELA after we do the science, then she can write down any vocabulary words she learned from the book about the heart. She can do a grammar lesson from that book, and she can do a writing prompt from that book, and then we have it all figured out. So I think that's how we're gonna, if we can figure it out, that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna kind of, ELA is part of, like, that's the whole thing about Guest Hollow, is you can kind of give, especially for the high school ones, you can give more than 1 credit depending on what you do. Like we're doing the world religions books, every part of it. So I may have a little bit of written things or some tests thrown in there and given world religions credit to my son. I haven't decided yet. But yeah. Overall, I just wanted to mention, just looking at my notes here, we're excited for Guest Hollow. My daughter loves learning about, well, not loves learning. She wants to learn more about anatomy. So I like using this, and I love that I got most of the books for free. You just have to look for PDF versions or online versions or to read aloud versions or things like that. And then there's like places like Archive and Open Library that have them too, that the Guest Hollow people mention. And it's, so just to mention again, Guest Hollow is good for those who like to make their own curriculum but want to save some time. If you like Open and Go, where it specifically says read, like this is not as good for you. If you're not like somewhere in between is what it's ideal for. If you want to make all your own curriculum, there's no point. If you want complete Open and Go where there's no choices, not for you. If you're in the middle, then you may like Guest Hollow. And yeah, so that is what I wanted to say, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.